Peace, peace, peace. You wonder about, think about, or even know about empathogens? Would you like to talk about them? Because that's what we about to kick it about. I'm Sincere Seven, and I represent the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit and the House of Genesis. And I want to kick it about empathogens for a minute. You know, um, why? Because I think that we need to, as a community, we need to lean into utilizing empathogens more. As a medicine man, as the Detroit medicine man, as a shaman, as a healer, as all the roles that I play in my community, and all of the healing modalities and medicines and entheogens and adaptogens and oneiriogens and all of these things that I have as modalities to assist my clients, I feel like the empathogens are needed the most. And honestly, are utilized the least. One thing that I can say for sure is that in our communities, there was a lack or deficiency of, oh shit, okay. All right, no, let me start over. All right, here we go. I know that in our community, and when I say our community, I'm speaking mainly about the Black urban community, because that's the community I'm a part of. I'm a heterosexual poly man in an urban Black community. So the majority of my clients come from the same community, even if they are of different identificating properties, like women, whites, like all type, right? So hetero, poly, monogamous, homosexual, all of that, pansexual, like everybody, like the pad is filled with every fucking body, right? But in our community, we are suffering from a fear toxicity. I'm gonna say that again. In urban Black communities, we are suffering from a toxicity of fear. So, those of y'all who know science and healing and medicines and all of that, you know that there's a balance within the body and within the ecosystems. And things are balanced, and then there is a negative and there's a positive. There's acid and there's alkaline. There's you hot and then there's cold. And in between is where you want to be, supposedly, right? Within the body, balanced. And there's toxicities, which is too much of something. And then there's deficiencies, which is not enough of something. Now, follow me. What is the opposite of fear? If you said courage or anything like that, no. And I asked in that order because over the last 20 years, maybe even 30 now, the acceptable and known understanding of what is the opposite of love. And people used to say hate. And it's like, no, it's not. The opposite of love is fear. So the opposite of fear is love. Hold on, I'm building. Let me cook, y'all. I'm just getting warmed up. So if that's the case, that means that love and fear being on opposite sides of the spectrum, if there is a toxicity of one, there's a deficiency of the other. So if love is the opposite of fear, And our communities at this point in time are operating in a heavily fear-based reality. That means that there's a deficiency of love. In our community, there's a deficiency of love. And watch this. When you have a toxicity or a deficiency, you can be eating the proper foods and still have a nutrient deficiency because your pH is off. As a gardener, and I'm a cannabis gardener, as a cannabis gardener, I can be fulfilled giving my plants all of the food they need every day, and they're suffering from a toxicity. Excuse me, I'm sorry, from a deficiency. They're hungry as fuck. And it's like, I'm feeding you though. I'm feeding you every day, but I'm not feeding them properly. The environment is not conducive for them to be able to absorb the nutrient content that is being given to them because the pH is too high or too low. And this is something that I try to explain to people when they feel like they've not received love. One, you are suffering from a love deficiency, but you were not neglected and not fed love sometimes. Sometimes the love was given to you in an unhealthy manner. The pH was off. It was not the proper pH for your body to be able to absorb all of these nutrients because the pH was too high or too low. The nutrients are absorbed at anywhere from a 6.8 to a 7.2 pH. So I'm giving all of the food, they present, but your pH, because of the environment I'm creating for you, is at a 5.5. This shit is acidic as fuck. So you're not getting the love because it's not properly being given. A lot of us have had parents who loved us but did not do right by us, who abused us, who abandoned us, who mentally, physically, emotionally, or mentally, and sometimes verbally abused us. Can we say that they didn't love us? No, they did love us, but their love was unhealthy. It's like somebody giving you water in a dirty glass. See, you can't say that clean water wasn't supplied to you. It was, it just came through a dirty glass. So you perceived it to be something other than that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. But the understanding needs to be had that the ability to receive or feel love, one, is possible, and two, should not be something to be seen as repulsive. See, the love that was supplied to you could have been supplied to you from somebody who had traumas, dramas, fucking mental disorders, sexual deviances, all of this. It doesn't change that they loved you. It changes the way that you perceive in it because of what else they're giving you with it. Love is not actions. People say, oh, a person couldn't beat your ass for 10 years straight if they loved you. And my answer to that is yes, they could, just like you could stay with somebody who beats your ass for 10 years straight because you love them. Okay? It's not a comfortable idea that love be expressed in these ways. And that's the point, is these individuals are unhealthy, and the way that they express love was unhealthy. The love was not unhealthy. And because of this, we have a culture of people who have an issue with love. I myself am a polygynous man. Polygyny for me did not come from a desire to have multiple women for sexual gratification. It came from abandonment issues with my mother and feeling like I was not of a quality high enough to be desired. So for me, being poly keeps me on my toes and being of a quality that I know is not just acceptable, but it is desired. This is why when I speak about poly, my ideas of what men do in poly relationship is different than most of these dudes who say they poly. They saying they poly and there's no responsibility. They fucking a bunch of women. They ain't got no jobs. They ain't got no houses. They ain't putting nobody in nowhere. They ain't educating nobody. They ain't fulfilling everybody's needs. They just got multiple mates. That's it. That's not my idea. See? So it works for me because of what caused me to desire this. I want and will earn it. Now, what about people who have wanted to try and have went to earn things and was return was reciprocated with fucked up responses? You did all of this shit good and they did this to you. Whether they beat you, they lied to you, they was dishonorable, they left you, they whatever it might be. This is an issue with the individual themselves. This is what you got to understand. Not what you was receiving. Could they have still loved you? Yes, very well. But do they have a healthy way of operating, of showing it, of even, no, they don't know how. A lot of people are operating from fear. Remember, I keep saying that. These relationships where these men are beating these women is because they're fearing that they're going to lose the woman. They love her so much that they're so scared they're going to lose her that they feel like they have to put control in. Why? Probably that was how they were raised. They was probably controlled and beaten. Okay? You have people who will, okay, watch this. So this is, when I say my favorite, I'm being sarcastic. This is my favorite. This is the one that fucks with me. Because I don't know how I always find these women or how they attracted to me, but the ones who've been in foster care. Spend some time in foster care, being separated from parents, raised by others, whatever it might be, and they feel like nobody loves them. So when they get into a bond or a relationship, they start to get scared because they're thinking this isn't real, so let me do something to see if it is. And so they set the foster care parents' kitchen on fire on purpose. And now they're looking to see how the foster care parents is going to respond, how the adoptive parents are going to respond, because I feel like you're going to get mad and just send me back to the fucking orphanage. Well, we definitely had no plans on sending you back to the orphanage, but now to know that we could just wake up and our whole house be on fire because you're not sure if we love you, yeah, we probably need to send you back to the orphanage. And it continues to put a concrete idea that I am not loved or lovable. So anytime anybody starts to show me love, I have to test that theory. Let me do some fucked up shit. Let me try to chase you away. Let me try to push you away to make sure that this shit is real. Not knowing that I'm so serious about the love, but every time you do the shit to push me away, I'm going, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And now my safety is starting to feel threatened, and I start to what? Pull back. But in your mind, see, I knew it. And it keeps reinforcing and keeps reinforcing. So every time you start to feel love, you have to do something even more drastic than the one before. It'd be like the ones that I really, really, really just like, it's like I can see that they don't feel or haven't felt love, that they want it so bad that if they get it, their response to it, that's what I desire. It's like I'm seeing that. I'm going, see, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. All these people that I give my fucking love to and they don't appreciate it. They don't see it. I'm seeing this person who's traumatized so much that the idea of love to them is so fucking like, I can't believe it. But if it was here, I would cherish it so much. I'm trying to get to the point where they cherish it, but they're trying to see if it's real. So they're setting this, and it's like a constant, like, fucking just fucking up of my nervous system. And I have to pull away. Like, I can't deal with it. You see what I'm saying? These are the types of things that we experience when we are fed a unhealthy version of love. It's not that we not getting it. It's that we getting it from the wrong people, getting it in the wrong way. And instead of learning the mistakes, the red flags, and who not to deal with, we just avoid love or whatever it is that we desire altogether. Like, fuck it. If I got to go through that shit, I'm straight. If that's how that shit feel, I'm good. If that's what that shit bring, I don't want it. But the truth of the matter is, it's not. That's what an unhealthy version of it does. That's what an unhealthy version looks like. And sometimes you got to see what an unhealthy version looks like to be able to recognize when you're seeing it from a healthy. How many of y'all have been in fucked up, abusive, fucked up relationships and went through your healing, and when you started to go date again and started to be around individuals that treated you different and just like literally could see it like, oh shit, it is that much of a difference to where it's not something you have to look for. It's right there. Like you don't have to know, you don't have to search to see if this person respects you. The way they talk to you shows they respect you. The way they deal with it. The way they deal with anger. Wow, he didn't go off calling me a stupid bitch and slapping me in my face. He actually said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. Look, I'm trying to get through this, but my emotions got charged up. I didn't mean that. I apologize. Let's back up. Let's pause. And let's find, another approach to this. And you've never experienced that. And you're sitting there going, wait, what the fuck did he just say? Oh, this is what a healthy version looks like. And the more you're able to do that, anytime that person that you're finding that comfort with brings something that makes you feel like that's not a healthy version, you're free enough to verbalize that. What you're doing right now, what you're saying, that don't feel like, because you've been showing me what a healthy version look like. And right now, what you're saying and what you're doing, that don't seem like a healthy version. That don't seem like it's conducive to my growth, to my healing, to love as I see it, to love as I want it. So, empathogens. I said, let's talk about empathogens. I had to talk about love and the lack of love and the deficiency of love and toxicity of fear. And so we can understand how, like, to know if you're listening to this right now, if there's something that you need to lean into. If you're dealing with a lot of fear in any way, there's a deficiency of love. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Chris. If you're dealing with an abundance of fear in any manner, there is a deficiency of love. Okay? So, if you are dealing with a challenge in how to accept love, how to feel love, how to give love, all of this is in these same realms. So, a lot of fear, an issue with love, a lack of love, no love, I'm turned off to love, any of that type of shit, you need, I don't say need because that's a shame word. I invite you to lean into utilizing empathogens. You must love self first before you can give love. People say that, but honestly, that's not true. It would be best, but you don't have to. No, there's a lot of people who offer love and show love even though they don't love themselves. I used to be one of them. I used to be one of them. Uh, I couldn't love myself until I felt like somebody else loved me. I didn't believe I needed to love myself because nobody else fucking loved me. So what the fuck I need to love myself? I be seeing all these people who love themselves and nobody likes them. And I'd be like, why are you in love with yourself? Nobody likes you. You should not be in love with yourself. That's just me. People be like, I don't give a fuck what nobody think about me. I do. I do. Like, no people are an island to themselves. We are packed people. We are a packed animal by nature. If you don't give a fuck what nobody thinks about you, you are not cohesive to the peace, love, and unity of everybody in the community. We should be giving a fuck what other people think about us. Not so much to where we lose track of ourselves, but I just want to point out, people always say that they can't love me because they ain't love themselves. Yes, they can. You very much can love other people without loving yourself. And actually, that's why a lot of people love other people, is because they're trying to get people to love them. Because they can't understand. And a lot of times it's because you stink. It's because your breath stinks. It's because you have bad personal hygiene. It's because you have bad social skills. It's because you talk to people like shit. It's because you spook people out. It's because the minute somebody gives you their phone number, you're telling them how in love with them you are and how much you want to take care of them for all of their life. It's the minute that they accept your friend request and you put your dick in the inboxes. I don't know. I be hearing all of this shit. Many who lack love of self look for love elsewhere. That's correct. Or offer love elsewhere. Then, along with looking for love, you find out how to love yourself. That's right. Then you have unconditional love for everything when you're fully healed. Exactly. Which is why I can love people that other people are looking at me going, are you serious? You know about them? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, that, like, I've dated women who people are telling me, well, they've told me, like, dudes be running trains on me. And I'm like, oh, lucky dudes. Like, shit, It's like, you still gotta date them? Like, I understand. I know why the dudes was running trains on them. You know what I'm saying? I know what it was they were going through. I understand them. And understand, love is the highest level of understanding. I gotta love you before I can help you to heal. Because I have to understand you at a level to where I don't judge you no more. There is no judgment. You get it popping like that, bet. I'm a swinger. Let's keep it funky. Let's keep doing what we do. And as we're doing that, I'm gonna be showing you love. See, the time you was experiencing that, nobody loved you. They were just using you. Now I'm going to use you and love you. I'm going to use you properly. And now I'm going to show you how you have a value to me. And you're going to start to grow a self-worth. And you're going to start to recognize how a person who values you treats you, and how your self-worth has caused you to say, hey, I want anybody else to come around me to treat me like that. And when you see that people don't, you start to set up boundaries to where they can't even sit next to you, let alone fuck you. You create your own boundaries. A lot of times we are looking at what people are doing instead of why. And to allow somebody to truly heal, they first have to be comfortable in what they do. I'm not here to try to get you to stop letting niggas run trains on you. I'm here to get you comfortable with why and finding out why. And then once we have found that out and you're not in the shame space, now, all right, do you want to continue to do that? Do you find that pleasurable? Do you find that to be the respect level that you feel like? Do you find that to be how you get what you feel like you want? What was it that you were looking for? Well, I was looking for attention. I was looking for love. I was looking for acceptance. Okay, well, do you want to continue to get love and acceptance and attention like that? No, hell no. I want to be able to do that without that. Okay, well, all right, I'm here to help you find some ways to do that. And then you start to find healthier ways to do that. Just like an individual who's on crack. First, you got to admit you was on crack. Then we got to go through the acceptance of you smoke crack. I'm sitting there with you. Why are you smoking crack? Okay, cool. I accept that. No problem. Do you want to keep smoking crack? Because if so, I'm going to leave you here. If not, then let's work on it. Okay, you got to go into rehab. I'm letting you know we got to do things that are different and we got to do things difficult. Are you along for the ride? Yes. Okay. Let's go into it. Then you start going into the things that are difficult. And you have, as the person who's supporting them, a way to constantly reinforce what they're going through. Just like BDSM, women who have been abused, sometimes they find that BDSM because after the person whips them, beats them, ties them up, they hold them and tell them they're important to them. They love them. It helps them to regulate their system, their nervous system, their emotional system, and rewrite what they seen as love. As that goes forward, now they can make a decision to say, hey, I would like to start experiencing love without being beat on, without being whipped, without being tied up. I would like to experience making love without being humiliated. And now they can slowly let their nervous system become comfortable with that, because guess what? It's new. It needs integration. It's new. It needs integration. They can't just jump in and be comfortable. That's just like a person who's always been monogamous jumping in and letting the motherfucker run trains on them. Same fucking thing. Same thing. So when we're talking about a lack of love and what all of these things bring about, all these ideas, these thoughts, if you have any of this, if any of this is familiar, I invite you to lean into empathogens. Empathogens are just that. They are substances that open up that empathy, that love, that sense of love. People say, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm pissed off, I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm anxious, I'm horny, I'm hungry, I'm ugly, I'm beautiful, I'm blessed, I'm highly favored, I'm civilized, I'm righteous, I'm a good person. But they never say, I'm love. I'm love. No, that's not my name. I'm love. You hungry? I'm love. You angry? I'm love. And empathogens, that's what they do. They say, I'm love. My minor empathogen is my cacao. My cacao. When I get up, I microdose my mushrooms with a cup of cacao, which is basically the seed which is inside of a cacao fruit. It's a fruit. You know what I'm saying? In the Caribbean and different places, they eat the fruit. You eat the fruit. You keep the seeds, you let them ferment. After they fermented, you take them and you roast them, and they crack. And once you hear them crack, you peel off the shells. And what's left inside is what's called a cacao nib, okay? Or a cacao pod or seed or whatever. And you crush it up. And the more that you put it in the mortar pestle and the more you crush it up, it starts to dry out, and it starts to break down into a powder. And then it's, well, first nibs and then into a powder and then into a paste. Because now the oils are coming out. See? And it turns into a paste. And what I do is I mix that with some coconut water, some coconut milk, you know what I'm saying? A little cinnamon, a little ginger, a little vanilla, a little honey, and you stir it up, and then I blend it up and it gets frothy. It's the original hot chocolate. The stick that we call hot chocolate is some bullshit. It's some bullshit. If y'all drink hot chocolate, I invite y'all to throw that shit away today and to call me or hit me in my inbox and tell me you want some cacao. And I'll ship you some cacao. And it'll be in the powdered form. You put it in the pot, turn the pot on, you'll see it'll start to melt just like, oh shit, it's right here in front of me. This is cacao. It's chocolate. This is when it's already been through the process that I'm talking about. And so I'll take this and I'll put it in the pot. And this right here just start to melt, just like a piece of chocolate. And I mix it with, like I said, the coconut, and it's very good for you. Very good. I ain't even gonna get into the mineral content and all that. It's bitter. It's like dry. It's like what they call that. It's like when you get chocolate and like dark chocolate. How it's bitter. That's how this is. So when you put a little honey, a little agave, a little cream, anything like that, it'll sweeten it, and you get that hot chocolate. It's chocolate. This is where chocolate comes from. Valentine's Day is synonymous with chocolate and hearts and love because cacao is a heart opener. Women being on their cycle and chocolate being a replica or replacement, because cacao is an empathogen. It comforts you like your love would. It opens up that heart. People talk about trying to get their heart chakra to open up. Then you should be leaning into empathogens. Having a cup of cacao every morning, not just good for your health, but it's good for your heart chakra. And you feel that empathogenic, especially if you team it with microdoses. Because now you're getting that tapping into other realms with an open heart. You're able to feel when people are offering you love. You're able to accept love and feel love a lot easier when you are on empathogens. It is a beautiful thing. Um, Cushion coffee with a cap. We use cacao. A lot of people don't drink coffee. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us do. But we drink cacao because it opens up the heart while we're having these conversations. So you and your mate, you and your lover, you and your friends, you and your sister, you and your uncle, whoever you need to have that difficult conversation with, I invite you to make cups of hot cocoa. Not that bullshit, but cacao. And to share that. And finish your first glass first before you even start the conversation, so the heart opening opens up. Then you can go further. It's also a slight MAOI. So if you do mushrooms, or you do any type of plant medicine, or any type of entheogenic traveling, opening it up with a glass of cacao, like drinking cacao while you're eating your 7 grams of mushroom. When we do our MDMA sessions, we pop them and we're drinking cacao, like while we're waiting on it to open up. So we're starting it with an empathogen. Okay. So cacao is a beautiful, 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 especially if you are not a person to take uh um um entheogens and psychedelics. If you're not into alternate states of consciousness, if you're not into going into any of that, but you still want to have modalities to assist you in healing and tapping in, and cacao is lovely. That heart opening ability that offers is perfect for any of that. Massages, Reiki readings, any of the light work. I invite you all, if you don't use microdoses, to start with cups of cacao, and just to open up that empathogenic connection with your clients. And those connections will, of course, increase like the entheogenic connections do with microdoses. And if you, again, combine both of them, the entheogen microdose and the cacao, can't nobody tell you shit. Trust me when I tell you, right? So, cacao is the first empathogen that I want to talk about. If you're not really trying to go too much further, altered states of consciousness, plant medicine, things of that nature, and you want to keep it real, like legal, real comfortable within the realms of religion, whatever it might be that might have you with boundaries of going into altered states of consciousness, cacao is for you. Okay. It's nature's chocolate. It's beautiful, tastes good. It does not alter your state of consciousness, but it opens up the heart. It opens up intimate settings. And intimate don't always mean romantic. Intimate. So I invite you all to lean into cacao. The next empathogen, the one I just spoke of, cacao is a minor, what I call a minor empathogen. Now I want to go to basically what I would call base level empathogen. So I'm gonna go from minor, base level, and high level. So on some base level shit, MDMA, also known as Molly. I am not promoting, advertising, or advising the use of illegal, illicit drugs, none of that. You know what I'm saying? We just talking about shit. This is all for educational purposes. So for educational purposes, Molly is excellent for relationship counseling, for opening up that sense of, remember I said intimacy. Remember, healing is an intimate act. Healing is an intimate act. And a lot of people have issues with intimacy. And sometimes that blockage to intimacy will hinder their ability to heal at the greatest level, speed, and functionality that is possible. If that is the case, MDMA is a baseline empathogen. It is not an altered state of consciousness. It's an altered state of perception. Y'all will hear me say that sometimes. It's an altered state of perception. I perceive the world to not give a fuck about me. I took this MDMA. I can perceive that the world possibly could care to hear what I have to say right now. I think you might actually value my opinion right now. Wow, I never felt like that before. Let me tell you how I feel. That's what that's, you know how sometimes you have those, you don't fucking care. You don't care. Well, you keep asking me, you don't answer the questions, and you don't fucking care. If you've ever heard that from anybody, they're suffering from a deficiency of love, a toxicity of fear, and you can't talk them into or out of anything. MDMA is for them and for you and for y'all. Because what that is one of that right there, you don't care. When I hear that, immediately I'm going, oh, MDMA. Okay. You've not been heard. You've not been listened to. You've not been accepted. You've not been given love in a form where you can see it being given and accepted. See, remember I said all of this stuff that I'm talking about comes from either a toxicity of fear or a deficiency of love. So theirs is a deficiency of love. You don't care. That's deficiency of love. You have to have a deficiency of love to that's like you abandoned me. That means that nobody was around. You can't grow up around 100 motherfuckers and your parents and say y'all abandoned me. That's not people who have abandonment issues. You know what I'm saying? Now, if your parents was never around and they left you with hundreds of motherfuckers somewhere, that would cause abandonment because you weren't around. Fuck all these people I was around. So I might have had comfort in being, and I might not be lonely, but I could still feel abandoned. And this is where you'll have individuals where their relationship will say just that. Like, what are you talking about? Me and you are at the party together. Yeah, but you over there with them. Like it's like it'll be like as above, so below. So you got to watch for these things. That's why I say healing has to be customized. All right. So this is the type of when you hear that, that's a customizable MDMA experience. You don't care. You don't give a fuck. You don't want to hear what I got to say. They don't want to tell you the truth of anything because they don't feel like they're even loved enough to be accepted. MDMA will give them that feeling. It implements that feeling. Like you feel it like, oh my God, you do care. You don't even have to say anything. They're just sitting there looking at you and you do care. Now I'm open to implement anything that I wanted you to understand. I care because blah, blah, blah. Now is the time to say that. If that's okay with them. This all has to be in consent. This is how you assist people who have abilities or deficiencies or, problems with accepting love, with feeling love. This is where that comes in because they're given the opportunity to present themselves into a situation to where the response can be, come on and let me love you. Come on and let me show you I care. Come on, let me show you I'm listening. Remember, we have to be able to tap into and rewire. I don't know how many of y'all heard me say before, me as a shaman and as a healer and as a medicine man is the same as technological hackers. When you know a person who can hack into a computer and tap into shit and make the ATM give you money and make the motherfucking emails disappear that was there, those are hackers of technology. When you have people who can go in and take traumas out that was there and implement the lack of love that was in all of these, this is hackers, okay, of the physical, emotional, and spiritual realms. It's the same thing. So there's programs that we use, there's tools that we use, there's all of that, modalities that we use, right? And so that's what we're talking about right now is these empathogens. Empathogens, me as a medicine man and as a healer, is what I use to assist people who don't have healthy relationships with love. Mm-hmm. And so, all right, so the MDMA is perfect for that. It's perfect for bringing back that childlike innocence that so many of us have lost. So many of us have lost it. It's like I have been betrayed, I've been broken, I've been abused, I've been beat, I'm grown as a motherfucker. That shit gone. But we know that that's also where our magic lies. Our magic lies in that. We know that our magic lies in our youthfulness and our childhood abilities to imagine. That's why children can play all day and they're in heaven because they're really in the realms. As we get older as adults, we take ourselves out of those magical realms. And the only time we get back into it is when it's called magic. Well, let me be very clear. Magic is nothing more than a grown individual's rules and regulations on how to return back to their childlike imagination. Because in that realm, you can manifest anything, even a whole person. A lot of us just grew up and had children. We actually perform the magic and are not even aware of what we're part of or what we are going through in this simulation, and lose track of understanding that we are in a simulation. It's hard when it's a never ending continual because we start to call it life and we start to approach it as if it really fucking matters. What matters is that we win. That's why we can't give up. People are like, well, if you're saying it don't matter, then why I can't just kill myself? Because you're just gonna have to start all over. You didn't win. We gotta win. We gotta get to the next level. All those of y'all who thinking about committing suicide, you're just gonna start over and have to do the fucking shit all over again. Let's get to the next level. Your healing is on the other part of uncomfortability. It's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. You're gonna cry. You're gonna scream. You're gonna fucking hate me if I'm your fucking practitioner and you're my client. You're gonna be mad at me. You're gonna be like, yo, fuck you. And I'm gonna be like, I understand. No doubt. Call me back when you feel better, unless you want to stay on and tell me more about how I ain't shit. Cause I'm a man anyway, and you should have been fucking with a woman. But whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? Because when we get to the end of it, I already know where we going. I'm open for it. I'm here, and all of you is present. Fellas too. The fellas who pick me up when I be talking shit and y'all be wanting to fight and I be like, all right, if you want to, but you know what I'm saying? Any medicine work we do after that, you gonna have to pay for. It's not my fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever you get, like you know, that was part of that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, but no, seriously though, I'm cracking jokes. I always like to keep it live and fun and all that. But seriously though, healing is not comfortable. It's not fun. It's not pretty. It's not cute. It's not Ushun yellow dresses and baskets of fruit and glory. No, that's offerings. Healing is messy. Healing is messy. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. And if it's not, it's probably not happening. Physical therapy is not comfortable. If it is, then you're probably not actually getting any benefit. So it's a part of the journey. But with the empathogens and the love you feel, like, let me be clear, like, when it comes to healing, those who need to take the empathogenic route, y'all got the for what I would say from a judgmental point of view, you all have the best journeys. You all have the best journeys. Like like y'all's journeys are filled with love and acceptance and love and beauty and love and love and love and like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you've had a deficiency. So we've got to get you back first to where like at least your body's now able to absorb it. Then we got to get you to a righteous state of, then we want to bring you to a full state to where now not only can you feel it and absorb it and have it, but you can show it off in a healthy manner. So your journeys are beautiful. And even though there's still some pain, There's still some pain. The pain comes in usually the beginning of the exploratory and the what I did, how I responded, what my life was, all of that. That's gonna be uncomfortable. You know, I'm gonna say some uncomfortable things. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? And you respond how you want. It's okay too. That was uncomfortable for me, but I'll accept it too. Because healing is an intimate journey. So it's just like you telling your mate, look, your breath stank. We just woke up. Go brush your teeth. Then come back and we can cuddle and do this morning shit. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like, yeah, it's gonna be like, damn, but fuck it, it's my baby. All right, my bad. I ain't know. Brush my teeth, brush my tongue, get back in the bed, get back to what? The lovey-dovey. It's the same shit. Now, so MDMA. We went through cacao, the minor empathogen. We went through MDMA, the baseline empathogen. Now, high level empathogen. That Bufo. Mm, mm, mm. That Bufo, that 5-MeO DMT. And y'all know me. I'm the Detroit medicine man. I'm organic everything. I don't deal with the synthetic. No, this is from the toad. Yeah, so just to be very clear, y'all know I specialize in the animal medicines. This is from the toad. It is the most intense entheogen on this planet. Okay, so remember, I went from one that's not one at all to one being altered state of perception. Bufo is a altered state of consciousness. Not only do you go through an altered state of consciousness, but also I always say that I prefer my clients to have a resume of pathogens, entheogens, or some type of resume already before jumping directly into Bufo. Is it mandatory? No. Is it advised? Yes. Because not only is it an pathogen, but it is a entheogen, the most powerful entheogen on this planet. But the altered state of consciousness, it takes you from the consciousness of here to the consciousness of, as they say, base diving into the heart of God. My experience, my first experience with Bufo was groundbreaking. It was soul shaking. It was nothing that I'll ever, ever, ever forget. And to this day, I'm still affected by it. It's still with me. Even though I'm now serving Bufo, I use Bufo, I'll microdose, I'll go whatever. It's still that first one. And that's how intense it is. As a shaman and a user of so many medicines on this planet, nothing. There's no. That's the one. That's the one that's like, all right, all right, all right. But its foundating principle is empathogenic. It opens up your heart. It gives you the feeling of love. No, 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 no. You don't need it. You're not accepting it now. You're not aware of. No, you are. You are. It is definitely also what I would call some heavy, heavy, heavy mystical arts practice because of that. It transforms you into love. So if you have a problem feeling or experiencing love, this is for you, because people think that is a two-part system. Like, I need somebody. If I'm going to experience it, I need to experience it from somebody, right? So somebody needs to love me somehow. Let me just tell you, no, you do not need anybody else to feel love. To feel loved, or to feel like you can love. a 80 to 100 milligram session with some 5-MeO dimethyltryptamine, you'll be love. And when you are love, you don't need love. You don't need to give it. You don't need to get it. You don't need to alchemize. You don't need. I said I am, just like you are angry, just like you're hungry, just like you're impatient, just like you're any and every other thing that you've always accepted into your consciousness, into your body, into your reality, but you've never said you was love. I invite you to hit me up and sign up for a D5-MeO session with me immediately. Change your life. Now, the integration of Bufo, I would advise 90 days of integration after a Bufo ceremony. Let me be very clear. I would advise 90 days of integration. And in that 90 days, I will be microdosing with cacao because you've already got a boost of, right? Remember we started out talking about love and fear, toxicity of fear, deficiency of love. So we started out like supplementing your body with love so we can balance your base level of being able to accept it, right? Like a person who's had a fucked up diet and now we're changing their diet. So even the micronutrients that they are getting, their body's able to absorb them and utilize them. Now, once we get them on a functional digestive system, now we can increase the amount of nutrients we feed them. This is where the MDMA comes in at. Now we can increase the love. We can increase the trust, the intimacy, the counseling, the talking about, the addressing. Then once it's like, all right, now I'm fully functional with this, now you can get the full blast that even people who are in love, have loving relationships, and had loving parents, they've never experienced this form and intensity of love. Because Bufo supersedes all love from relationships. Let me be clear. Yeah. Because it's from within the self. And that is the greatest love that you could ever feel. And most people have never fallen in love with themselves or never felt the love that they have themselves. Not don't know it's there, never felt it. That's what Bufo is. When you learn that love, you learn how to love yourself. And you learn how to let another motherfucker have a boundary and not have no motherfucking connection or source to your love, because now you understand how fucking important and valuable it is. Motherfuckers ain't becoming millionaires because they've never seen $1 million. That's why niggas who was raised in the hood by people who was their daddy a dope boy or they uncles had bricks or whatever, it wasn't that they got that shit in them, that they got the hustle. No, it was that they literally have seen that shit before. They know it's possible to get $1 million because they seen it. Let me tell y'all, that's the secret. So now they know it's actually achievable. A lot of people don't fucking love themselves, valuable, none of that, because they've never actually felt it. Bufo gives you the ability to feel your own love in a way that you can never even imagine. And when you do, you realize how fucking valuable you are. And that changes the fucking game. Keep in mind, think about those women who have been, you know, what they say, black girl lost, and letting dudes just use them. And somehow, some way, for whatever way, shape, or form, somehow they are given an understanding of their value. And what do? They change that shit. Even if they start charging. Some of them go from just giving pussy away to shit. I'm going to start tricking. Because no, I'm just out here giving myself away and letting it. No, fuck that. I'm about to get paid. Some of them high-priced prostitutes. Some of them don't even prostitute. No, you can't. You don't have access to me at all, motherfucker. And some of them go through that chamber of growth and development the more that they learn love. It's a progress. Just like being hurt. Some people one day wake up and somebody traumatized them over a fucking night. And some people was grown into certain shit. It was slowly put on them, slowly introduced. Same with healing. Sometimes you can go get a ceremony and it cures your shit overnight. But usually that's if your shit was made overnight. But if your shit was compound stress, compound shit, toxicity of fear over months or years, a deficiency of love over months and years, yo, we need to do the supplemental game, the slow roll. Let's take our time. You don't take somebody who's been starved and just give them a fucking Thanksgiving meal. Like, no, you need some soup first, baby. You ain't even able to eat all the shit we got for you. Don't worry about it. Eat some soup. We're gonna build your ability to eat up first, because you ain't been even digesting food. So your body's not even built to digest food. So let's give you a little bit of food so your digestive system can start kicking in and get healthy. Same when you healing from physical ailments. The first thing you need to be focused on is your diet, nutrition, and health. That's why I be telling people, if you ain't really trying to do 3 months with me, then come get this ceremony and go ahead. If you want to say, spiritual tour guide, transdimensional travel agent. If you say, I want to go here and I want tickets, okay, here you go. Bye. It ain't that was transdimensional travel agent. I was your travel agent. You said you wanted to go somewhere. I said, okay, fine. You ain't asked me if you need to be there or not. Now, if we're a spiritual tour guide, that means I'm going to walk with you. You want to go there? Okay, I'll take you. We'll walk through it. Yeah. Is this what you needed? I never said that. I'm giving you what you. Now, if I'm your harm reduction specialist and you saying, hey, this is what's going on with me. This is my problem. This is what I'm going through. What do you think I should do? There we go. First of all, let's start this 90-day plan, because none of this shit is an overnight fix. And I don't want to just sell you some shit like a lot of people do. Just sell you this program. Just sell you this ceremony. Nah. Healing is an intimate journey. If you ain't trying to do 3 months with me, then shit, come get this ceremony. You a customer, not a client. And that's okay too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just being honest on how I approach these things. Like, healing is an intimate thing. So if you asking for my assistance, we're going to spend at least 3 months together. We got to get intimate. We got to talk. We got to be real. Go. Peace, queen. You feel me? There's go one of my sisters right there. If I ain't for you, shit, talk to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean when I say, like, you got to find people you comfortable with, because it's an intimate thing, not romantic, not sexual. No, intimate. I might wipe the throw up from your motherfucking face. I'm holding your hair back and shit. You crying. I might be holding you. You might now, be very clear. I don't do no touching during any type of medicine work. When I'm holding somebody and they crying, this is why we counseling and shit. I'm not holding you while you crying on mushrooms. I'm not fucking touching you. While you on acid, I'm not touching you. While you on, nah, we don't do those things. But healing is intimate, and you have to have that trust. You have to have that. You know? And these empathogens, they offer that. They offer, if you have a issue with finding that self within you, that empathogenic center, if your heart chakra's closed off, if you have a problem with trusting, these are some tools that you might want to lean into. If there's some conversations that you feel like you need to have with some people and you think it's going to be real difficult and then it's going to go all bad, I invite y'all to, reach out to me, and you and both of them and whoever else needs to actually take one of these empathogens and have these conversations with a mediator, or just by yourselves. You might not need a mediator. You might need some MDMA. They take some MDMA. Y'all sit for 30 minutes, drink some tea, drink some cacao, and then say, okay, let's talk about this. Are you open to talk about this? Yes, I'm open. Are you open? Yes, I'm open. Are you open to hear what I have to say? Even though some of this might bother you? Yes, I'm open to it. Are you open to hearing my responses, even though it'll bother you? Yes, I'm open to it. That's how y'all should start. And then carry on. Because both of you all have these empathogenic centers now fully open. And you're going to be able to operate like y'all dancing and didn't even know how to dance. And it's going to be amazing. And you're going to be in the middle of it. And you're going to be sighing, crying, and saying, how the fuck are we doing this? We've never even been able to talk about these subjects, let alone go into detail. What the fuck is this? What did we just do? And then be like, yo, shut the fuck up. Let's just get back to it. Don't get lost in the amazement of where you find yourself. Make sure you stay in the realm of that. Because once it's over, it's possible that your logic ceiling might close back down. And that's okay. That's why I said integration is important after these things. Because now, after feeling that and having that acceptance and all of this, it can be exciting. You can want to go and do things that you don't need to do. You don't need to open up a new relationship with this person. You don't need to exchange phone numbers and go hang out and have lunch. No, you needed to get that shit off your chest. So you need to keep in mind what your intentions are. And so once you go through that experience, now we can go back to where we started at. This is why the 4N process is very important. Intake, intentions, in space, integration. First, we do an intake. What do you want to do? Know, be, achieve, see, experience. That's the intake. Okay, cool. What are your intentions with feeling that, going through that? Oh, you want to heal? You want to be more comfortable in sexual relationships? You want to get shit off your chest? You want to even approach your abuser? Okay. So you can have some closure. So you can, okay, that's the intentions. Now let's go in space. That's when we actually do the things that we had the intake and discovered and had the intentions of and spoke on. Now we're in the space of that. We're doing the plant medicine. We're having the discussions. We're, advancing and talking to our abusers. We're talking to our parents. We're, whatever, healing. We're the mirror magic, the shadow work. Okay. Now that's over. Now we go through integration. That was a lot to go through. That was a lot to face. That was a lot to talk about. That was a lot to release. So let's have some integration after all of that. Let's bring your nervous system and bring it back home. Your emotions and bring it back home. Let's bring a sense of safety back. How did you feel about all of that? How did it make you feel? What did that help you with? What challenges did you have with that? Now we can go back and look at the intake form and the intentions and see if everything that we just did was functional for everything that was intended. That's how that's supposed to happen from my point of view. If you come fucking with me, rocking with me, and we approach any of these, that's how we approach it. So for me, I like to do that 90 days. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to yes. Like, I heal the way that I thrill. When I deal with women, I'm not a big, let me hit that one time, see what, ooh, that was good. Oh, that was what's up. All right, you know what I'm saying? It was dope. Like, nah. I'm one of them, like, why you ain't called me the next day? Like, what we doing next week? I don't care if I did something else with somebody last night. What you doing tomorrow? I like to continue on. I like to be headed somewhere. Right? Like, right? Okay, so in healing, it's the same thing. No, I don't want to just give you a ceremony and then you go on back and then, well, okay, I mean, this is better, but I still going through blah, 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 blah. I kind of feel like I'm a big deal. Nah, line all them blahs up and over the next 90 days, blah, 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 blah. Because when we done, now when you walk away, did it work? Yup. Okay, now we finished. Not, oh, a little bit, and now I got to go to somebody else for this, and now I got to go to, unless that's what you want to do or need to do. Because there's some things that I might not be able to assist you with, and you might need to go to somebody else. But when I approach it, my approach is to dig in deep, figure out everything that you intend, that you want, and that you want to see come out of this, and see if we can get you the most of that in a one-stop shop. Not a one ceremony, one stop. You stopped here to fuck with me. Let's get intimate. Let's do 90 days. Let's walk this road of transformation, because I specialize in alchemy. I specialize in alchemy. That's why I say I don't like the whole overnight thing. The one, like, yeah, I mean, I used to do that in the army. Okay, I got one night to just fuck your whole shit up. I know how to do that too, but I don't like that shit no more. I like alchemy. I don't want to fuck your shit up. I don't want to play a mind game with you and make you think anything. I want to actually change the structure of you. the function of you. You're not functioning now, 90 days from now, you're functioning. You depressed now, 90 days, you're in a state of joy, not happiness. We can get you happiness in 2-3 days. No, a state of joy. I'm angry. I'm whatever the fuck that you don't want to be. 90 days to get you where you do want to be. I'm taking you serious because you're taking yourself serious. I can give you the best service because I got time to put in everything and go through every nook and cranny, as opposed to, all right, well, I don't really know who you are, but you want the ceremony overnight. I'm gonna give you ayahuasca and you can go home. Good luck. If that's what you want to do, just to have the experience, I'll give it to you. Let me be very clear. I will allow you to give me money for a ceremony you don't need. I just won't let you do it without me telling you that first. I'm going to tell you, you don't need that shit. But if that's what you want to do, I'll give it to you. I just move with integrity. I just want you to know, I'm going to sell you the shit. I'm going to charge you and I'm going to take you through it, but I don't feel like you need it. Now watch this. If you found the comfort in all of that, I'm going to take heed to it. If you found the healing and you like, nigga, I told you that was what I needed, well, I'll be damned. Okay, well, let me update my motherfucking whatever made me say that's not what you need. Tell me more about why that was what healed you. What was it that you, right? You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to be very open that I don't think that what you're spending money on with me, do you need? Then I'll allow you to spend the money, not before. Because that's integrity. I just got to move with integrity. Oh, but I will give you a ceremony you don't need after I tell you that. If I don't think it'll put your safety at risk. There's some people I'd be like, nah, you don't need that, and I'm not going to give it to you. I don't care if you offer me money. I'm not giving it to you. You go get somebody else. There's a lot of people calling me for Iboga ceremonies. No. Find somebody else to do it. Nope. If you want to know why, we can talk about that more later. But I'm just saying that's the type of boundaries I have. You know what I'm saying? Furthermore, I don't like everybody's healing is custom. It's supposed to be customized. Your healing, your traumas was customized. When they came in there, when they touched you, how they touched you, what they made you do, whether you accepted it or not, whether you was with it or not, whether you cried or not, whether you laughed it off, whether you ran away, whether your mother abandoned you, whether your uncle touched you, your grandfather did. These things are so custom. So why wouldn't your healing be? But if you got a deficiency of love or a toxicity of fear, I invite you to lean into empathogens. Okay? I invite you to lean into. And with that being said, I got a special guest that I thought they were saying that they were going to jump in on my live. And now I'm looking and seeing that they said, no, I'm about to jump into your atmosphere while you're on your live. So we got a special guest. Let me go open this door. I'm over here giving you the introduction of you right now. You know what I'm saying? For those of y'all who have followed the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit and been a part of us, you are very aware of this individual. For those of y'all who are new, you know what I'm saying? This is Chris. This is the shaman and medicine worker who was featured in National Geographic with me, who has done ayahuasca ceremonies and trainings and all type of stuff. This is my man's. It's my man's in there. It's my brother, man. I ain't seen him in a minute. So, man, it feels good to see you, man. Welcome.
Yeah, man.
Welcome, man. So you said you want to come hop in on this live, man.
Well, you know.
You are welcome, brother. You are welcome. Let's talk about it, man.
You pop up, and I heard you talking some truth. And
yeah, man.
Some things that I needed to hear personally. And
okay.
I like the way you put it. So, I see you moved on to empathogens, though. Is that where you still?
Yes. The last video we were talking about, what was it? The last video was about,
people who think they're, that it's the demons that are in their way when it's
right.
Really just,
people projecting and certain ailments, diseases, and entities into people when that's not always the case. And so, the video we are now is we're talking about empathogens and utilizing them. We spoke about 3 of them. We spoke about cacao, we spoke about MDMA, and we spoke about Bufo. Okay.
You would put Bufo in an empath. Okay.
Oh my, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Right. And before we started even talking about the empathogens, we spoke about who needs the empathogens and how toxicity of fear and deficiency of love are the same two conditions, and whichever ones that you might be showing diseasement or disailment in your life, then empathogens are most likely a medicine that you need as compared to other ones.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in my training, that's what we started with. We started with the heart openers. You know what I mean? It's like before we go and do ayahuasca in the jungle, like you got to start to open your heart, and which is something that I really needed, and kind of should have stayed more with the empathogens before expanding my I needed to intimacy, as you brought up earlier, right? Fear of intimacy. And somebody said to me plainly, like, if your heart's not open, where do you think the medicine's going to land at? Where's the medicine going to land at?
Oh, wow.
It's like,
right. Y'all hear that? You know, and when it comes to plant medicine, he knows quite a bit about it. Over 100 ayahuasca ceremonies, I'm sure, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Experience, and plus, again, like I said, LSD and the psychedelic revolution streaming on Hulu. If you want to see us serving ayahuasca to our community for PTSD that was not military traumas. That was what the Our Place in the documentary on National Geographic is, you know. So he is somebody who's a medicine worker, has worked with plant and animal medicine, as well as fungi, right? And so, you know, he's not just speaking from a perspective of, you know, his society or what he sees, but actually an intimate relationship with these medicines that we utilize. Yeah? So,
did you talk about Kana? And have you experienced Kana?
I did not talk about Kana, and my experiences with Kana is very, very minimal.
Same.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, because I was about to ask you. Okay, I got some Kana on the shelf in there.
You do?
Yeah. It's like a tab or two. You know what I'm saying? Chewable. So I'm familiar with it, but I have not leaned into it and experienced it a lot myself yet. But I have heard quite a bit of good reviews on it. So that is another one, y'all. Kanna, Kana. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of experience with it, but I have heard a lot of testimonials. It's another herb, right? That I'm not fully aware of the history and the science and foundation, all that, but from my understanding, it's another herb that's an adaptogen that also is a empathogen. And they use it in tincture form, chewables, all types of forms, and that opens that heart chakra up.
Yeah, a couple times I did it, not much, and then I did it once with kratom, actually, which I don't recommend kratom necessarily, but it seemed to open up the Kana, and then I was like, I'm rolling right now. Like I just took ecstasy. I just took MDMA. That's what it felt like for like 45 minutes, and then it was, and then it left. So it's more subtle. It seems that you got to get the dose right. You probably got to be maybe empty stomach. So I think it's a little more touchy.
I've heard the best results with people who've been using the tinctures of Kana.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the tinctures, because again, healing is custom. So you got to be. That's why I tell people here at the Psychonaut Academy Detroit and House of Genesis, that's one of the things about us is that we want you to be sovereign in your healing. And you ain't gonna be like, it's uncomfortable. I'll be like, don't worry about it. You'll get used. No. Well, let's find what's comfortable for you. Let's find your sweet spot. Let's tune this shit in and make it as custom as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I think that those liquid tinctures is why people find the best results, because they can really tune it in. You know what I'm saying? To, like you said, it's to not be rolling, because you don't want anxiety to set in. A lot of these medicines that calm us can also heighten us and cause anxiety and panic attacks and all type of shit like that. So we got to be cautious about that type of stuff. Can you name the medicine again? Kana. Kanna. Yeah, Kana. So yeah, I was gonna say, you were an inspiration and one of the first people to utilize the MDMA in the clinical setting with one of our clients, that I was aware of, and it gave me a little bit more comfort, and I started leaning into it and utilizing it. Oh, okay, I didn't know you was on. So speak a little bit about that. So, because you have a little bit more history about that. You know what I mean? You have a lot more to offer. So, to people who are listening, who are interested in understanding empathogens, and I spoke about how MDMA is utilized. How you approach it. In counseling for the most part, but I only spoke a little bit about it because I always do things within my own chambers first to grow a grand understanding of it. So I've been utilizing it within my own works. I haven't worked with any clients with it yet. So if you want to speak a little bit to the client experience and what that looks like using MDMA and what they go through for the people who's interested, you want to touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So, like I said, my training that I took, a 3-year psychedelic therapy training, opened up with, I can't remember the name of the first retreat we did, but we essentially worked with MDMA, with cacao, in a couple different, in like a ceremonial context and also in like a therapeutic context. So with MDMA, as you know, you've experienced it, you're probably not going to have a bad trip, right? You're probably not going to have it's very gentle. It's a heart opener. It's an empathogen. So a lot of us have some trauma, maybe not full-blown PTSD, but probably some form of CPTSD at some level, right? A lot of us just need to share what's on our heart. We don't need to blast off into extra dimensions, right? We need to feel our feelings. Like, where are you going to go if you can't even feel, the hurt or the shame that you've been repressing from your childhood for, and that's, and I know from experience, because I wanted to skip over that shit. A lot of the stuff that led me to the path was I didn't want to, I wanted to blast off and feel, ecstatic and learn the secrets of the universe. I didn't want to sit with my feelings and I'm still working on that shit. You know what I mean? So back to working with Rich. I'll say his name, but you guys don't really know who. Anyways, he told me he never just had somebody sit and listen to him tell his story before. That alone made all the difference. If he's going to a psychiatrist in this place and everybody's trying to, essentially repress his feelings still, or tell him, so he's just afraid to express himself. And all they did was throw pills at him and give him, right? Which speaks to your, custom healing. Like if you want to go with the pill on a shelf, you're just doing what the pharmaceutical industry does. And now you're just bringing that mindset over into alternative medicine. Right. But it's like, you missed the point. So back to MDMA. The whole work is opening the heart. You know what I mean? Like, sure, we got to give it up limiting beliefs and all these things, and the mushrooms and things can help with these. But essentially, it's all about removing the guards and the weeds that are closing your heart down. So we got to, and MDMA just really, allows you to have compassion for yourself, allows you to sit there and feel things and not feel ashamed or guilty about it, but just feel them and speak about them. And yeah, that's what I was saying, y'all. It gives you that ability, because a lot of times that's why I said a lot of times you don't need to blast off. You don't need to go anywhere. You just need to get some shit off your chest. You just need to vent. You just need to tell somebody what happened. You just need to feel safe with verbalizing a lot of times, and sometimes there is more works to be done, but you can't even get to that until you can first feel safe verbalizing. Yeah. I realized, the wisdom in confession, which we think is silly and all this stuff these days. And essentially, what is therapy but secular confession? You're just trying to get somebody to tell you the truth.
That's right.
Except less effective, because there's a ritual component to the church that actually,
speaks to the soul and the spirit
exactly.
of self. That's right.
We're just so distrustful of our Father, of tradition, of authority, that the church is like, no, I'm not. Who's he for me to, So
Right.
we've secularized it, but we've lost that trust in our Father. Actually, now that doesn't mean there's some warrant for that, particularly in Western Christianity and Catholic Church, right? Anyways, the point is, before you drink ayahuasca, you take the purgative. Before you take the Eucharist, you purge with your words, which, as Christ said, it's not what you eat, but the words that come out of your mouth, right?
That's right.
So where do you really need to purge from? The food in your stomach or your heart and soul, which come out through your words, right? So, which speaks to what mental food is and physical food. Anyways, you could. So spot on. I would say with
I like that.
Maybe a different perspective.
And that's why a lot of people, one of the things that I hear continuously in the community is, I just got a thing about throwing up. Like, I just can't. I don't like throwing. And I'd be like, damn, this is somehow connected. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, okay, your throat chakra is probably closed in. Like, throwing up, no, let it go, release it. No, you need to have a healthy relationship with it. It's not something you need to practice every day. Like, I'm gonna get up and throw up today, but it needs to be a form of release. Like, I've never said I got an unhealthy relationship with taking a shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, that speaks to how much, like, I realize, the people who really don't like throwing up are afraid to let go.
Yes.
Because you're not in control anymore when you throw up. The kundalini has now taken over. Your nervous system is now the one who tells you how to move.
Right? That's right. And that goes into even what I was saying about different people need certain medicines and some people do not need certain medicines. Because, like you just said, if you got control issues and you trying to control everything, then some of these things that make you feel out of control, such as Cambo, ayahuasca, mushrooms, might be for you. But if you've had an issue where every time you've been out of control, something fucked up happens to you, then you might lean into things that allow you to be in control. So you'll go to do MDMA before you'll do mushrooms. Because in MDMA, you can control your environment, what's going on around you, how you respond to it. With mushrooms, you liable to do or even worse is acid. Y'all got to be careful about these states, altered states of consciousness, and playing in them, because you are altering your state of consciousness, and you will be around people, and you'll fuck around and be doing things that you didn't mean to do. Be very clear. This is some heavy magic, and so when you get to playing with this, you'll find yourself sometimes falling into, and this is why we have intentions with everything. I mean, we just went through the 4 N's: intention, or intake, intention, in space, integration. It's gonna be one of those 4 things. So if there's anything that was not in there that's going on, we out of pocket. We got to get back on. No. We intended for there to be healing, for there to be counseling, for there to be talking. And we're over here now playing tennis off the side of the house with a motherfucking whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, let's get back to it. And that's why I'm real structured when I utilize Empathogens, and I don't do a whole lot of recreational.
Yeah, I learned the hard way, not to play with psychedelics.
Now, Empathogens, I feel a little different about.
Exactly. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why you start with that. That's you have to feel safe before you. Like, that's why they're used for PTSD. It's like, you don't want to throw a man who went to Vietnam in a 7-gram mushroom trip. He might, that could send him right back to war in the most 4-dimensional way you could get back there. So you just re-traumatized him with a high dose of psychedelics when he needed MDMA, and to be petted and nourished and softened and coming back down into his body and occupying it again. Because the shamans understand mental illness, which there's no such thing as mental illness, there's just disease. You're a unified being. So mental illness has its correspondence in the body. So you know, as they say, you know, you can't think your way out of depression and anxiety. You got to move, you got to act your way out of life. You can't think your way out. But back to the empathogen, that's why it's used for PTSD, to teach people to be safe in their body again and feel and sink back down. And often that's the beginning of the work anyways, is to become earth, humble, and learn humility, which I also had to learn the very, very hard way and be broken down over and over again until I got that message. But the fundamental layer of the work is the fundamental layer of the work, which is rock bottom, being earth, coming into the body, incarnating. Rather, we're trying to disincarnate, and really that can be just escapism, right? To disassociate from the body. So the shamans understand that it's soul retrieval is a more clear explanation of what our whole spectrum of mental illness is: depression, anxiety, trauma. Trauma is soul loss. And they understand that broad perspective, like that covers the whole span of it. You had an experience, your life force is locked up in that experience. So it travels back there or into the future to not be in the present moment, because it's literally locked up in that memory, in that trauma, which lives in the body, right? Our traumas are in our body. That's why, you know, so this work has brought me back to the body in so many ways, that the body work and the nervous system work are the missing key that I didn't have, that I'm starting to really integrate now and understand that, you know.
And, you know, I like what you brought up, because that brought up another good point about what these empathogens are good for, is bringing about a feeling of safety for people who want to become psychonauts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people want to, they be hearing about 7-gram trips or ayahuasca and all this. They be like, man, I want to, but man, that shit sound intense. That shit sounds scary. I invite you to start with empathogens. Altered states of perception. They're comfortable. Plus, it's filled with love and it feels good. But it'll start to give you an understanding of this altered state of perception to move into altered states of consciousness. So when you said that, bringing about the safety, because a lot of people, when they go through their mushroom journeys, they will fight, because it's
Tell me about it. I've been there.
Right? You know what I mean? And it's like, because they don't feel safe, because they don't know what's going on. So if you could start off with these different empathogens that give you that sense of comfort, security, and subtlety, then once you do start going into the altered states of consciousness realms, you're more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You're prepared. You're like, okay, this is gonna be dope. This is like, and then you,
that's why. I mean, yeah, people don't take a lot of psychedelics except without MDMA. They mix them together for that reason, to get into that place beforehand. Which I used to always look at those kind of cheating. It's like, no, you know, it's taking the easy part out of the rise in mushrooms or LSD. So
taking the MDMA and then 30 minutes later taking the 7 grams.
Yeah, once you're already in, you know. Which is why it can be. Which is why once I smoked DMT and then I smoked an MDMA, I'm like, oh, I'm never smoking DMT again. Not an MDMA. It triples the time, because you're relaxed and you have time to be in there instead of MDMA is like taking a deep breath for the first time, man. Jesus, especially if you have trauma in your heart. It's like, oh my God, this is what it feels like to be a being and just nourished by fucking the life force. Like that's what that can be available to you, know, without MDMA. If you but that's
hell yeah. Okay, no, I've not done that. I've done a tab of LSD and 16 grams of mushrooms together, but I've never done MDMA. I did MDMA with like, I think, a gram of mushrooms. It was like, so it wasn't like a high, it was some light work. So it wasn't even really a mushroom trip. It was like I microdosed while on MDMA. Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
Well, and a lot of people like that as a therapeutic tool, because you got the love, the float, and then you just twist it. Then you just add a little bit of new perspectives with the mushrooms, right?
Right. Especially if we're going to be outside.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's the thing. We was outside. Now, if we're going to be in the clinical setting, then, like, if we're going to be indoors, then I would rather the MDMA by itself, because the mushroom wants that nature. So it's like, if I'm going nature, definitely add the mushroom, and that's kind of how that's how I kind of navigate that.
That's
Mm.
yeah.
So any other empathogens that might get an honorable mention or something? What's up with the MDA? Is that a empathogen?
It's more stimulating, I believe, or is it more euphoric and a little more taxing on the brain and the body?
Okay.
So you want to, yeah.
See, that's why I stay away from most of the
I've never done
synthetics.
it though. I've never done it, as far as I know.
I'm not a synthetics kind of guy, and MDMA is kind of like that exception. I don't know about any other synthetics that I've like been like comfortable with. Yeah. MDMA, like for what it does and how it works and how it no, that's very important. And if it's used right, it's safe. And I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I rocks with that. You know what I mean? But all the rest of them, I'd be like, when I be reading and they be saying it fuck up your body, it fuck up your brain. If I be like, nah, that ain't really. Yeah, I mean, if it's synthetic and it's gonna do that, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to fuck up nothing. That's why I like that natural shit. But seeing the how functional and usable and beneficial the MDMA was. Now I'm gonna tell you what was strange for me.
What's that? One empathogen.
What's that?
I don't think you've ever done that. San Pedro is an empathogen.
Right, true. So
if you haven't done it
properly. Right. I haven't done it full.
Because that's a walk around in the mountains for 12-hour type.
I was gonna say, is that introspective with empathogenic qualities, or is it more empathogenic than anything?
It's more. It's like LSD and caffeine. It's stimulating. Mescaline is an upper. That's why if you have high blood pressure, you take mescaline. You can be. It's people are vibrating on mescaline. And that's what that's peyote and San Pedro and like Peruvian torch. And so cactus is very. Well, look at a cactus, the San Pedro. It's this. It's zing, and it's got it's a giant cactus.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Think about a mushroom. What a mushroom is. It's physical
expression
that it conceals and reveals its true nature with. So, and then you think about peyote, which hides under a bush and is very small and condensed and takes years.
Identifies as a mineral.
And so, like Leela said, you're eating 50 years of sunlight right here. A peyote. You're eating sunlight. So that's, and I would say, the people who use peyote are it's the red path, right? So it links up with Christianity. It's basically, Christianity and, Native American. So it's very, it's in the desert. Agua Coya, they call it, which means water bringer, because it carries its own water within itself. So it's the water medicine, actually, and it lives in the desert. So you get these connections with the biblical narrative. But, when I was in a peyote ceremony, I was like, oh, this is the father energy. Oh, like, this is.
Got you. Yeah.
So it's grounding and quiet and subtle and clear, because those are the masculine principles. Clarity, groundedness, where ayahuasca is watery and teaches you in parables. Peyote, like, it has that stern hand on your shoulder and is making you look at yourself. I never confronted my shadow so much as I did directly on peyote, where I couldn't look away from. I could not look away from the ugly parts of myself. So that was like, oh, this is shadow work. Oh, this is the realization I've been resisting that is terrifying to me. To come face to face with my own demon, and that's peyote.
Yeah. Okay.
Ayahuasca takes you around dream type scenarios and shows you parables in ways to try and make you see a pattern that you play. Right. So it speaks in parables where the father is very direct. So, and Iboga is the great grandfather, as they say, and he's even more deeper than that's the. And it's also stimulating, and it's grounded, That's why we took it at the emptiness retreat and meditated for 10 hours a day. It's supposed to, that's when we just
Yeah, I
sit
spoke about that earlier.
Become rock.
About not calling me for iboga ceremonies because I'm not giving them because I'm not like what? Like hell no. Like this is not that. That ain't this, and there's a lot more to it. And
well, iboga broke me. Iboga shattered my mind and my nervous system and my body essentially, and I have been slowly rebuilding it. Actually,
that's what I be trying to tell people is like this is a real high power magic, and hey, I gotta end this call. So with that being said, I love y'all. Tell somebody you love them in the language they can understand it in.